One Ohio mother dealing with an unthinkable tragedy. A jury deciding Chelsea Walsh's former employer, TQL, must pay her more than $22 million after denying her the ability to work from home during her high-risk pregnancy. In February 2021, Walsh underwent emergency surgery to prevent early labor. She requested to work from home following the advice from her doctor to remain on bed rest. The lawsuit alleges Walsh's manager gave her two options: remain on unpaid leave until she gave birth, or work in the office against medical advice. Walsh said that she couldn't afford to lose income or health insurance, so she made the difficult decision to return to work. Just days later, though, Walsh went into labor, giving birth to her daughter Magnolia at just 20 weeks and 6 days. Magnolia died in her arms an hour and a half later. And now I want to bring in our NBC News legal analyst, Misty Marris, to help us understand this case. Misty, clearly such a difficult case and tragic circumstances. The jury found enough evidence in the mother's case to side with her. So walk us through what they decided.
Yeah, Gabe, this is obviously a tragic case, and it's a very unique legal theory. This was brought under a wrongful death statute. So this is seeking damages relating to the death that is to compensate the family, the loved ones who have lost their loved ones. So this is about negligence. It's whether or not there was a foreseeable risk that this terrible tragedy would occur. So what the jury was focusing on and what was presented at trial was what the employer knew and when about the high-risk pregnancy and those circumstances. And when they did not grant the plaintiff the ability to work from home, was that the cause of this tragic outcome. So the jury ultimately found in favor of the plaintiff, meaning that the plaintiffs were able to get that evidence over the net. The jury found it credible and ultimately gave this $20+ million award.
And look, let's see, something that stood out to us in the suit. Lawyers for Walsh, they say that her husband spoke with his employer's HR manager, who told him the work-from-home denial his wife got was wrong. That manager contacted an executive at TQL to tell him they were making a mistake. Exec responded, quote, "Thank you. You just saved us a lawsuit." How much did that likely help Walsh's case here?
This is really a central part of the case, and it's a really just convoluted fact pattern because you have this piece of information that's so critical coming from outside the company, and then the response really being about saving a lawsuit. Gabe, that speaks to that issue of whether or not there was a foreseeable risk. The response really indicates that it was known by the company, or that's the argument, that it was known by the company that there could be a tragic outcome if, in fact, they did not act. So that's certainly something that was focused upon, and clearly the jury, finding in favor of the plaintiff, saw it that way and applied it in that sense.
And Misty, quickly, this is obviously a very specific situation, but have we seen any other rulings like this? And at what point do people have the right to remote work protection?
So there's no right to working from home, but there's other legal standards like accommodations for medical conditions that could be at play, and that's under federal and state law. It's interesting because this case was not brought under those statutes. Instead, it was brought under this wrongful death statute based in negligence. So really, when you're talking about a negligence case, it's all the factors that are known to that defendant and whether or not a risk was foreseeable that could result in the damages. So that's the analysis at play here. A really, really unique way to bring the case, but other laws could be at play when it comes to work from home.
Our legal analyst, Misty Marris. Misty, thank you so much. And